Hi, Daniel. Welcome to Providers Podcast. I'm going to do a little introduction. Providers Podcast is about men's mental health. So we have guest speakers come up and talk about their life story or whatever they want to bring. And the purpose of this is, because I'm a therapist, I believe if people can hear people's life stories, we can learn something from it. And we can hopefully understand what is mental health in regards to men, because I think men are sometimes not seen, not understood, and we haven't really deep dived into the way that they think and deal with mental health, I think, in 2023. So I'm sitting with Daniel. Tell me a little bit about yourself, Daniel. Who are you? Where are you from? Because I know nothing about you other than your name.
Yeah, well, it's not who am I, but what I do. I'm a CBT therapist.
Oh.
So I might end up asking you questions as well.
Please do. Please do.
I might reverse roles. But the thing I like to say is I'm just a regular guy, but I try to make myself as spectacular as possible. Mm-hmm. Anything that I've done that I feel has been a good achievement is because I've worked hard to do it. Mm-hmm. When I'm average height, I feel like the way I look physically is what average is, like in terms of muscles. If everyone just worked out every day, you'd look fantastic. The problem is you don't, and you eat unhealthy food. And then I try and make my life better.
Okay.
Consciously, focused effort, and it works.
It works. What made you kind of have that kind of strong ethos about life?
It's something that I've always lived with, but I realized at the end of university, 2017, that's when I started getting into self-help. Started reading self-help books. I read a book called The Power of Now. Do you know it?
I think I've heard of it.
I think you'd like it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me make a note of that. Power of Now.
Power of Now. It's by Eckhart Tolle. So,
Echo. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
there you go.
I've probably not read a book, but I know I did something on Echo. Yeah. But tell the viewers what Power of Now is and Echo, because I know there's this guy that sat on the bench. He was a millionaire, wasn't he, or something? And
I don't know if he was a millionaire at the time. He might have been, but he like spent a week on a bench in a park or a month, and I have no idea what he was doing.
Self-actualizing.
I don't think that's necessary. I didn't spend any time on a bench.
Okay.
But reading the book, it makes you realize what your connection is with other people, what you mean to yourself, and the thoughts that you normally have, the feelings that you normally have, what they might mean with regards to your life experiences, and importantly, your ego as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's putting that ego to bay, really, because the way Echo talks, like, you're just a sanguine in the grand scheme of things, you know? Yeah,
and beyond that, you can use the ego to obviously accomplish things. But when you realize that it's just a driving force, that's how it gives you the control. You don't have complete control. You still have things that you want to do.
Yeah.
But you have a lot more control, and it can help you significantly.
Okay. So I'm intrigued, what made you want to get into CBT? So for the viewers that don't know what CBT means, what does it mean?
Cognitive behavioral therapy is a type of therapy that focuses on the link between your thoughts, your physical symptoms, and your behaviors, and how they all interlink to create any kind of problem or maintain a problem as well. So if you're thinking about something like depression or anxiety, usually it starts with your thoughts. Sometimes it starts with physical symptoms. So with depression, you might have thoughts of, I can't be bothered anymore, I'm too tired, everything's going wrong.
Yeah.
Physically, that's quite draining. If you just think about those thoughts that you're having all day, they're focused on negative things. You're thinking a lot. That's a lot of mental energy you're using.
Yeah.
And so you become more tired. The things that you would normally enjoy, you might not enjoy them anymore. I'm using my therapist's voice now. It's annoying.
You've got one of those, okay.
And then you start to change your behavior. And behavior is one of the key parts, because when you start to behave differently, that actually significantly changes your life. You stop doing the things that you enjoy. You stop wanting to go out. You stop exercising. And that all makes sense. You're probably tired, you're burnt out, you're overworked. But when you stop doing it completely, it just reinforces everything that you were thinking before. It reinforces, I'm useless. It reinforces, I have nothing I want to do. I don't enjoy anything. And then
it's that perpetuating cycle.
Anyone who's ever lay in bed all day knows that you never feel fantastic afterwards. You just feel even more lethargic and lazy.
And you feel guilty for laying in bed because you probably got things to do.
And that's basically a cycle that can lead to depression if you don't break it and start to either manage some of the thoughts or manage the behaviors.
So how do you actually like integrate the way that you work with your clients? So that's what you look at. How do you now work?
So it depends on what problems they come to me with. If focusing on depression, they're saying that they haven't been exercising, they haven't been seeing people, they haven't been eating properly, then we're looking at something called behavioral activation, where it's just, there's what they called 4 core principles, creating a balance of activities. So doing things that you enjoy, doing things that are necessary, like paying bills and eating, and doing routine things like showering, cleaning, going to work. That's just kind of a trifecta that helps keep your life in balance, basically.
Okay.
Then there is something called graded, where if you used to be a runner or you used to do loads of exercise, when you're feeling depressed, you're not in the same place. It's much like if you had broken a leg. Once you have to slowly build it back up. You can't go straight back into running 10Ks.
No.
So when you're feeling down or depressed, you can't go straight back into doing everything.
You might need a bit of physio first.
Yeah.
Start walking and building that strength.
I don't want to say can't. Some people can. But the easier thing to do, at least mentally, is go, I'm just going to walk today. I'm just going to do a small jog today, rather than going, I have to run 10K again. Because for some people, that's overwhelming. So having a balance, not pushing yourself too far to where you want to go. Another one is called outside in. And this is just where you create a plan for what you want to do day to day. And rather than deciding what you do based on how you feel, you do what you do based on what's planned. So basically, if you go for a walk, that's the thing that might give you the energy. That's the thing that might make you feel better. Rather than just going, I don't feel like going for a walk, so I'm not going to do it. You'll stop yourself doing the things that might make you feel better.
Okay.
So balance, graded, outside in, and there's one more which I'm forgetting. It will come to me another time.
So how does that work in a session? So what does a session look like? How do those elements come into the session? Do you do that all in one session or?
I remember what it's called. I don't remember what it's called. How do you put it in a session? So you would, psychoeducation is basically explaining that to the patient. So letting them know why we go through CBT in this structure, why these things help, and just that CBT is the most well-researched, most effective therapy around currently. So it's just I think
we're going to disagree on that one. Agree to disagree.
Ask ChatGPT.
CBT is measured. It's I think it's a psychological approach that can be measured quite easily.
It's easier to quantify.
And that's why it's been integrated so much in our services. But whether it's the best, I don't think so. But it's great. You do good work, and I think every therapy is needed because we have different types of clients. Okay.
Even hypnotherapy.
Yeah, because that goes into the subconscious mind, doesn't it? And depends what you want to work on. So there might be people that have disturbing dreams, or they want to stop a particular habit, and just normal talking therapy isn't going to cut it for them. Because some things are just so rooted in their subconscious mind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, CBT is used for OCD. And that's basically...
And autism and Asperger's. Neuro, I think it really helps with. I find clients that are quite rigid in the way that they think, or they have obsessive behaviours, I will refer them to a CBT therapist, because you work quite...
How do people find you?
What do you mean? Be more specific. How do my clients find me?
Yeah, because it sounds like you work for yourself, so how do people find you?
So there's 2 things that I do. So I work for myself, so they'll find me on Google, Power of Change Therapy, Birmingham, and they'll just email me and hit me up, and I'll do an assessment and see if they like the way that I work. And if they do, I'll book further sessions. Or I work with the NHS, so I work with the IAPT and the FTB. Have you heard of that?
The F2?
FTB, which is Forward Thinking Birmingham for young people from like 12 till 25, I think it is. And then the IAPT is Adult Services. So for the last 5 years, I've been, clients have referred to me through the IAPT service. So I have seen thousands of clients. So a lot of them I would refer on to
How long
CBT.
ago did you qualify?
I qualified in 2018.
Okay. Did you enjoy COVID?
I did actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, stacked loads of money. I liked just staying at home with the kids.
How did you start getting clients and like marketing your business?
I think my website was really good, word of mouth, and through the NHS, people coming back to me. And I think a lot of it's word of mouth.
Nice.
What made you ask that?
It's essentially what I want to be doing. Some people don't want to work for themselves. That's fine. I'm not one of those people. I started a coaching business in 2021, 2 years ago, maybe even 2020. And obviously, I just like even more clients to help even more people. So I'm always interested to hear how someone who's in basically the exact same field that I want to be in, just helping people, talk to people, how they get people to come to them. I have to do a lot more sales and prospecting for myself. But
and it's also calling up companies that I used to call schools, and it's having a plan of.
That's exactly what I have to do.
It's having a plan
talk
of
to more people.
Yeah, it's having a plan of who is your target audience. Like, who do you want to get? Who do you think needs therapy? So my next thing is construction. Okay. Do you know why?
Because it's all men, and men have so many problems.
Yeah, and construction has a really high rate of suicide.
Yeah. What's I can't remember what it's like. Finance is high.
Farmers.
Even healthcare, to be honest.
Bankers.
Yeah.
Anywhere where, like, if we're talking about men, let's just keep it to men. When men work in like an isolated environment, or they work away from home a lot and they're not around their friends or family, they have more higher rate of suicide. And construction, I think they haven't really latched on to therapy and looking at that for their staff. So that's something that I want to go to next.
Okay. I think men have just terrible coping mechanisms for mental health. We have no idea what we're doing because we see it as such a weakness, and that's a weakness in and of itself.
Yeah. Tell me about men. So what when you say terrible, what have you observed in your work why you say it's terrible, or even in your life experience?
Because without fail, I always hear male clients telling me, oh, I feel embarrassed that, I have to talk to someone about this, or, my dad always got on with it, so I should just get on with it. And it's like, that isn't a reason to do anything. The fact that your dad suffered in silence doesn't make it good. I don't think it's impressive to be good by yourself, but you can be amazing by getting therapy, or amazing by talking to someone. Everyone's too obsessed with, men are too obsessed with having pride in like doing everything by yourself. And there is a pride in that, being self-sufficient. But like I said, I'm good by myself. I'm great by myself.
Yeah.
But if I can build an even better life with someone else, why are men so ashamed of doing that? Doesn't make sense.
Where does that come from?
I think it's all socialization because of what men have to be or had to be in society. We think that any sign of weakness or vulnerability, any sign of vulnerability will be seen as a weakness and will be like overthrown.
And weakness is clearly a bad thing, to be weak and vulnerable.
I don't know if it's a bad thing. I wouldn't say I think it's a good thing to be vulnerable. I wouldn't say it's a good thing to be weak, because it's
needed though. Sometimes you gotta hit rock bottom, or we can't always be strong. There's gonna be elements as a human being that we're gonna have weak points, and that's okay. And
why would that be good?
Because I think there's learning from those low points. There's reflection, self-awareness. If everything was all good, we'll never learn.
But it was always good, so we wouldn't have to.
No, there's no such thing as it was always good. What's good for you isn't necessarily good for me.
Yeah, but that's hypothetical. If something was always good, then we wouldn't have to learn anything.
But that isn't life. There isn't going to be always good, though.
If every phone call I made, I got business, there's nothing I need to learn. Everything's always good. But if something goes wrong, then yes, I need to know how to deal with different situations.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. So if a man never had to be strong, then it's fine to be weak. But because men have to be strong sometimes, then it's not good to be weak. Does that make sense?
And that's what we're saying. We're saying it's not good to be weak, but I'm saying, okay.
It's okay to be weak.
It's okay.
It's not good to be weak.
It's not good.
So
let's get it right.
Yeah.
So you say
that's the distinction I'd like
let's
to
not
make.
own that being weak is good,
Yeah.
but it's okay to be weak.
Yeah.
Okay.
What
I hear
is
you.
good is for you to be able to admit it. What is good is for you to be able to get help. And that's what men aren't doing.
Yeah.
We want to not do anything. I heard, like I said, too many people saying, oh, my dad didn't cry. So your dad might have hated his life and been miserable. Imagine how much better your life could be if you spoke to someone. Imagine how much better your life could be if you weren't ashamed of these feelings that you know everyone has.
But men know they can speak to someone but still don't do it. What is that about?
So I wish I had my phone. It's over there. There was a study by someone which showed how men view emotions versus how women view emotions. And when a man was crying, other men viewed it as like weak. They would like kind of be annoyed or frustrated or in some cases disgusted.
Disgusted, yeah.
With that display of emotion. Women were obviously more empathetic. There was no mention of weakness because it wasn't something that was measured in the study, but they were more empathetic. They were more open to help. They like see it as honest expression of emotion.
Yeah.
So the problem with men is that we see emotion a certain way, at least typically, and we stay in our single track mind and think women also see it that way. Because if we see a man cry, we think, oh, he's weak. And then we think, okay, a woman must think that as well. And some women do. But some women is not all women. And if you have a woman that will break up with you because you cry, you are not going to have a successful marriage. Imagine what else she's going to break up with you for if you cry.
But there are women like that. There are women that say, well, like, be a man, grow some balls. And there's some men in that are so sensitive. Yeah. So
you can decide to never cry and live your life with that woman, or you can decide to cry and find a woman that isn't weird. I was going to say toxic, but I think that gets thrown around too much. Well, let's just say a woman that has her own opinion that just doesn't give you a good life.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own style of life. Stop trying to fit in with the people that don't. You only need one person to live a fantastic life with.
Just one.
Stop trying to please like the billions that are saying men shouldn't cry. It doesn't make sense.
So are men trying to please then?
Everyone's
they're aware of that other people are watching and that affects how they behave.
Yeah, everyone has that.
Everyone?
Yeah, you do.
But am I everyone?
Yeah.
Some people don't care. And
special?
I think when you get to a certain age as well, you don't give two hoots about certain things, you know? So I think that comes with maturity. But yeah, you're right, spot on. And my experience of men, even like today, I had a session with a client and he expressed that when he's depressed, he withdraws, he's irritable. And the reason why he withdraws is because he's snappy, he shouts, he's angry, and that person, he doesn't want them to look at him like with disgust or with contempt. So he'll withdraw and keep those feelings to himself. And I call it stacking. He stacks those emotions, and that's what men tend to do, and then sometimes explode in some cases.
Men express depression a lot differently to women. Women cry, they want to talk about it, they have like more significant levels of sadness. Men, you said they withdraw, they drink alcohol, they engage in behaviors which wouldn't typically be associated with sadness. They even turn to anger a lot. And I think a lot of mental health systems are in place for people who are ready to talk about it, and because that's not how men usually deal with it, it's not obviously optimal for men, but it's still there. You just have to learn to talk about it.
And even talking when they're there with me, I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. And I'm like, let's just roll with it. And then before you know, I can't even shut them up. So I think men also battle with talking, just it's unnecessary. They don't like conflict. They don't like to start talking about things that are going to make them sad.
Yeah.
So they'll just bottle it up. But my thing is, the more you talk about it, more growth can happen and learning.
I think there should be a limit on that though. Just because
Oh, here we go. Go on. Limit on what?
the more that you keep talking about things, if you're not learning from it, if you're not accepting it, if you're not moving past it, then talking about it is just dwelling on it and not actually helping. So there are things that have happened in my life which annoy me and I wish never happened. But if I keep thinking about that every day or keep talking about it every day, that's not necessarily helpful. So
let's put that in context a little bit. So what I normally say to my client is, say, for example, we've spoken about something that's quite traumatic and they understand it and they've learnt from it and they know why that's made them like that. We can draw a line on it, under it, and we don't need to necessarily bring that up. If it does come up because things have triggered them, that's fine. Yeah. And that's what you're saying. Let's not overdwell on something. I agree. But sometimes just getting a man in the chair and allowing them to talk is a beautiful thing. Yeah. You know?
Exactly.
Okay.
We agree.
Okay. So we're agreeing. Okay. And I think what I'm feeling here is two different approaches of the way that we work. Is there anything that you want to ask about my approach and how I work?
I think it's kind of clear from how you speak and the things you say.
Is it clear? Go on, break it down. What do you mean?
The things I'm saying are, and I don't want there to be any semantics associated with the word. It's just a description. Because I do CBT, I feel like it's more practical advice.
Yes.
I say, you do this, you'll feel better. See you later.
Yes.
And then you say, no. You come talk to me. We're going to speak about things. We're going to understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling.
100%.
We're going to understand how that impacts different areas of your life. We're going to understand how previous experiences will be influencing how you're feeling now. Because two people can experience the same thing, and because of their past, they'll have different results or they'll experience it differently.
Yes.
And I think that's more to do with what you do. You get to uncover, reveal more about the person's psyche and what's happening.
I get them to make connections with the past and how that affects the present.
We don't do that in CBT.
No, you just give them solutions.
Yeah.
Strategies.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
It works.
But sometimes they don't need that. They just want to talk. That's what they tell me. That's the feedback they give me from CBT. I don't want to do all those sheets. I just want to talk. I just want someone to listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go see Charlotte.
Yeah, that's what happens. They come over to my side. Mm-hmm. But I do integrate elements of CBT. So I get my clients to understand your thoughts impact the way that you feel. And I do. That's one of the first pieces of work that I start off with. It's really important to make that connection. Yeah. Because what you think affects how you feel. And if you don't feel good, you ain't getting out of bed. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be motivated. But people aren't present. They don't really get that what up here affects how you feel. And I call that, you need to have mind control, because sometimes your mind can control you and you can run away with your thoughts and follow every thought, and not every thought is necessary. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Of course.
Yeah. So.
I say the same thing.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I do elements of that. So I really have so much respect for CBT.
Excellent.
Mm. Okay, then. So what else about men? What else have you reflected on and think's important to bring here? What do our viewers need to know about men's mental health?
I think if we're focusing on just men and not what women can do, then men as a collective have to... There's two sides. There's a person who starts a conversation and there's a person who might ask for it or listens. You have to be both at some point. You should be asking your friends, are you okay? But I don't mean, like, I'm not going to ask my best friend every day, oh, you haven't cried, have you? Are you all right?
That's not what you mean,
Tell
no?
me about last week. No. That's why, like, if you ask your friend, are you okay? What's been happening? And they don't really tell you everything. Other than doing private investigation work, there's not much you can do if someone's not willing to talk to you about it.
Very true.
So that's why on the other person's side, you have to know that if this is your best friend, you don't have to. Like I said, it depends on the relationship you have. But all I say is, every single person, if you have someone in your life you can tell anything to, you'll be okay. Yeah. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
But for men specifically, You have to be the person asking for the conversation, or you have to just be ready to share the conversation. And it might actually be more important to be the person who shares, because if you share first, they might see it as an opportunity to say something as well.
Absolutely.
So then there's less judgment. When you tell someone how embarrassing some of the things you've done are, or how ashamed you are some of the things that you've done, then they go, oh, okay, I actually haven't done anything that bad. Or
I'm
I've
doing
done the
all
same
right.
thing.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Or shit, yeah, you've done that. I've done that too.
Exactly.
I'm all right.
So
it validates them a little bit, or makes them not feel alone, or I'm okay in the world.
Yeah.
And I think maybe let's stretch it out a little bit more than one, because sometimes what I get is when that one person passes away, that person comes to therapy because their everything has gone.
Yeah.
So, it's about having a good support network where, you could perhaps talk to that friend about sex, that friend about this, that friend about that, if you can't trust one friend with everything, or go and see a therapist. Like I say, therapist is just having that impartial person in the community that's always willing there to listen and support and give you impartial and non-judgmental advice and support. I've lost my train of thought there. What was I saying?
You might need more than one person.
Yeah.
I think even sometimes the word therapist might be a bit triggering for some people. Like, therapy, that immediately
You're
goes
mad.
to, I'm weak. It's just
Got
like,
problems, blood.
just consider it talking.
Yeah.
That's literally all it is.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what was taught in your degree, obviously, but the main part is just being empathetic and listening.
Yeah. Non-judgmental.
Yeah, I have knowledge of CBT, but for the most part, the thing that helps is just being empathetic and listening.
Yeah. For us,
It's not that complicated.
it's
You're just talking to someone.
non-judgmental, empathy,
Yeah.
and truly being present with that person. And my job is just to try and walk in that person's shoes and try and understand. And if I was them, what would I do? And just try and help them the best way I can. And you're right, it's just talking. That's all we're here for.
Yeah. Go on.
No, go on.
I was going to kind of change topic.
That's fine.
Well, so the first thing that we've covered is, importantly, men need to talk. Someone needs to start the conversation. And I say someone, if you're watching this, you need to start the conversation. Stop waiting for someone else. Stop waiting for your best friend. Stop waiting for someone else to start the movement. You start it. If no one comes with you, doesn't matter, because you did what you could. So you be the first person to talk. Second thing is, stop basing your actions, your life, your desires on how other people might view you. Yeah, we live in a society where, if I walk down the street without trousers on, people are going to look. But most people are trying to make decisions that are just good for them, and it doesn't really impact other people that much. It might just impact people's opinions of them. And by that, I'm talking about, if you tell someone you're depressed, if they think you're a pussy, who cares?
Should you even have them around you if they're thinking you're a fucking pussy? Excuse my French.
If you're crying, if you want to be able to talk about your emotions, then stop worrying that other people are going to judge it. Because all you're doing, because if that's what you want to do, all you're going to do is filter the bad people out of your life. The best thing about, at least what I teach as a coach, I teach people how to figure out the life that they want and then create a plan for that life. Then you go live it. Because then you have so much confidence, because you feel like you know yourself and you know exactly what you want. And you start, it's like when people say, just look out for red cars, and then all of a sudden all red cars seem to come out of nowhere and everything's there. It's the same. When you know exactly what you want in a relationship, when you know exactly what you want in a life, when you know exactly how much money you want to make, then you can say, well, this isn't going to help me. You can say, this person's bad for me. And just by having that knowledge, you make completely different decisions.
Absolutely.
So if your friends don't like crying, if your girlfriend doesn't like crying, you're asking yourself, do I want to live a life where I have to hide my emotions? Even if it's just from some people, because I've had arguments with people about this, and still so many people on the internet want to say, never cry in front of your woman. If you lose someone and you can't cry in front of her, okay, you can go cry to your friends, which are what they say. But you think you're going to live with your wife every day and be able to not cry in front of her after losing someone you cared about?
People have debated you on this, did you say? What were they saying?
Because a woman will lose respect for you when you cry. And if she does, then
That's maybe not the lady for you.
That's what I keep saying. But apparently all women are the same.
No. I'm a woman, and if a man cries, that means he feels that he can be vulnerable, and I would be honoured. And I think a lot of females think like that.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen that episode with Friends where, I don't know, have you seen Friends?
I do like Friends, but go on, there's a lot of episodes, Danyal.
That episode where Bruce Willis is on the show and then he never cries. Rachel wants him to cry and then he just keeps crying for like the rest of the episode.
No, not seen that.
It's like too much. It's funny.
Okay.
That's what I suppose objectively we can say people don't want. They don't want someone who's constantly crying, constantly over emotional. But that's not crying. That's emotional instability.
And if someone is over emotional, that means for me that they're really becoming depressed and low, and they need support even more.
So we're talking about two different things. If you can't cry in front of your woman, that's a problem. If you keep crying in front of your woman, that's also a problem. So there's somewhere in between where you find someone who, when something terrible happens, you're able to express your emotions. The person that you live with, I don't know.
Should not see you as weak.
I don't understand it. But anyways,
but that is actually reality.
Stop trying to pick people in your life who you think are like the ideal of what you want when it just doesn't work out with your life. Like a lot of guys would love to date like Instagram models and like these OnlyFans girls. Until you spend time with them, you don't know what it's like. Some people love that life. If you want to go out loads, if you want to be their personal photographer, fantastic. If you don't, then just because you have the thing that you want doesn't mean it matches with the rest of your life. Yeah. Because your life is a whole. If one person can dramatically change your life, potentially affect your job, affect your happiness, affect your family life, then just because you got that one thing doesn't mean it's good for you. Yeah. You should find some. That's why I say you need a holistic picture. I don't use actually holistic. I just like that word. You need
it's a good word.
A complete picture of your life. Yeah. And then you know what actually fits in it. Yeah. Like I thought I wanted the OnlyFans girls, and when I started spending time with them, I was like, this is stressful.
Really?
It's very stressful.
So you've taken a lot of pictures?
Yeah. A lot of pictures. It's not cheap to have a OnlyFans girl as a girlfriend.
Okay.
I never had them as a girlfriend, but still, like, you realize, I mean, maybe sometimes you do need the experience, and I get it. But for the most part, when I know what I want in my family life, I know what I want for myself, I know what I want to spend my time doing. And when they say, I just want to go here, I want to go there, can you take pictures? No. Which means maybe some of them aren't like that. That's why I'm not saying all of them are the same.
Of course.
But generally, we create patterns within groups of people, and you can tend to see that a certain group of people aren't for you. And you see that everywhere. At work, we all have our cliques. At school, we all have our cliques. You find the people that work best in your life. That's all you have to keep doing. Stop trying to force yourself into the cool kids or the ones who are on Instagram and live a life that's going to actually make you happy. Because I've been at the party where, there's famous people there and there's rich people there, and you're just like, there's actually nothing to do because everyone's too busy looking their best. All the girls are taking selfies. All the guys are like trying to look cool. And like they don't give a fuck about anything, and you're there like, I actually just want to dance and talk to people. Like, what the fuck? What's the point in this? And yeah,
so that sounds like really superficial and ugh.
Yeah. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because it comes back to actually doing things that make you happy and having things in your life that make you happy. Because if you keep forcing yourself into the job you don't like, into the relationship you don't like, then enjoy.
But I think that's about knowing thyself. Like. I think people need to be. Know. You reckon?
Yeah, you know when you're being fake to yourself. You can't lie to yourself.
Yeah, but I think we compromise a lot. Then we compromise a lot and squeeze into little things just because maybe we want that Instagram model and we want to get into that place. We're gonna compromise our integrity.
You'll see what you can compromise on in your life. I'd rather get 50 out of 100 than 8 out of 10. Because I've got more of the things that I want in life. Just because, and that just means that not everything has to be perfect, but you have to get as much of what you want as possible. You might compromise on a few things. That might be relationships. That might be work. If you do a job that you don't like, it might be living in an area that you don't like. It doesn't matter. But there are a few things that generally make your life good, and just focus on building that up as much as possible, getting as many of those things as possible. Yeah. And then on the few things that don't make a difference, you can compromise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the things that is important for me is having a girlfriend who doesn't smoke. I would never date a girl that smokes. Just wouldn't work for me. I'm not having that smell around me. What else? A girl that's gone.
So she ticks all the boxes.
Yeah.
But she smokes. You're not compromising.
Because that's too important.
Okay.
I don't know what. I mean, obviously, I know like some of the other boxes, but smoking is very important. Like, wait, you're smoking in my house, and
if she doesn't smoke, I won't smoke in your house. I'm going to stop in about 6 months.
If you kiss a smoker, it's just horrible.
Okay. So that is a turn off for you, and that's one thing you're not going to compromise on.
Yeah.
Okay.
We all have like strong no's, and sometimes they are small things. If someone goes, "Oh, he wouldn't date a girl because he smokes," that's dumb. Maybe for you.
Yeah.
You live your life, I'll live mine. Whatever makes you happy, you do that.
But you know yourself, you couldn't tolerate that.
Yeah. Drinking is something that I'm movable on. If they drink a little bit, don't mind. If they get drunk all the time, then obviously no.
Yeah.
But drinking is something that I can compromise with, for example. But you just have to find what works for you.
Okay.
And again, bringing that back to mental health. When you find what works for you, it just makes you happy. And there's nothing else that we're trying to get more than happiness.
Okay. Have you experienced like depression or elements of
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
What do you think, looking back, triggered that, and how did you deal with it?
There was a lot happening in my life. I had started a new job in the countryside, somewhere called Lincoln. This was in...
Where are you from, by the way?
London.
Okay.
This was in 2020. So I'd started working in NHS. It was part-time, so I wasn't going to be earning enough money. I just moved into... So first month, I stayed in an Airbnb so I could look for flats around. Finally found somewhere. It was pretty shit because it was cheap and the people I lived with were mental. They were having parties in lockdown. And I told them to stop and call the police and stuff because they wouldn't listen, so whatever. And so the house was stressful and messy as fuck. I just moved out into the countryside, which I don't mind being by myself, but it was just, I wasn't stable yet. I was obviously learning a lot at the new job. I was having to get used to all the processes and protocols. And
was that isolated, like in the countryside?
No, I don't care about that.
You don't care? Okay.
I don't care about, I'm so good by myself.
Okay.
When I went to a boys' school, which I think had a big part in me focusing on women a lot up to pretty much now. And I spent 2 hours, so I'd wake up at 6 in the morning, leave my house by about 7 or 6:30, 2 hours to school on the train, 2 buses on the train, walk up the hill, I'm at school, finish school at 3:40, exactly the same back, walk down the hill, a train, 2 buses, and that was my life for 6-7 years.
Wow.
So I spent a lot of time by myself, and that's why I think I'm good by myself. And that's also why I'm very happy I developed the skill of being able to communicate. Because now when I'm by myself, I know it's not because I can't talk to people. It's because I want to be by myself.
Okay.
I can go out to a club and make friends with whoever I like.
Yeah.
If I want to. So yeah, going back to Lincoln, it wasn't isolating. It was just stressful. And I had family things happening that I had to think about. And yeah, I'm trying to think what else.
So you moved to this new area. You was in an Airbnb. Money's a bit tight. You're living in the conditions where you're sharing and it's untidy. Did you say you was in a rural area as well? But that didn't bother you because you like your own company. Yeah. So were those the pressing factors that was pushing you off the edge?
I really like stability in my life. Like I like having a routine.
Yeah.
I like things being in specific places, not in an ADHD way, but like I want to know where my local park is so I can go, because I work out at the park. I want to go running around the park. I need to know where that is. I need to know where the closest Lidl is because I'm not going to fucking Waitrose. Okay. And I need to know my route to work. I need to know the local area and basically just anything. So obviously moving, it meant a lot of instability, and the instability isn't the problem. It's the fact that I'm thinking a lot. because remember, I'm at a part-time job, which eventually my money's going to run out. I'm in an annoying situation, and my flatmates are downstairs, and I know they're making too much noise. So it's not even everything's happening, it's what's happening here. Because if I didn't care, I wouldn't care. But I'm trying to get to a life that I want. I'm trying to create a plan. And that's what I was doing for maybe a month, 2 months. Yeah, 1 to 2 months. I just had constant like, okay, when I need to get more money, I need to work on the weekends.
So these are the thoughts that you're having in your mind.
I need to buy a car so I can drive over to Birmingham. I need to buy a car so I can drive on. Okay, I spent 3K on the car. How much do I have left?
Yeah.
And that's what's happening in my head. So the depression for me wasn't, I want to kill myself. It was, this is tiring. This is too much. I'm stressed.
So mental exhaustion.
And that's what depression can look like.
Yeah.
But one thing I knew, because obviously I've I studied psychology at university at this point, so I had an understanding. I knew I was always going to keep eating right. I knew I was always going to exercise every day. So
That's a good stuff.
No matter how much I didn't want to, I'd get up, I'd go to the park in the cold, and I'd just be running around. So
what does that do for you, exercise? What does it give you?
Structure.
And
it's not what it's given me, it's that what doesn't get taken away.
What do you mean?
Sometimes doing these things that CBT offers, it doesn't make your life better, it stops it from getting worse.
Oh, as opposed to if you wasn't going out for your walks, jogs, you'd be inside, procrastinating, more thinking, which is going to bring you down. Okay, because sometimes being idle isn't good, is it? You've just got too much time to think, and that's unhealthy within itself. Yeah, I hear you.
So it means that I'm not getting out of shape, I'm not getting fat, I'm not eating shitty food, which is going to make me feel worse. I'm doing as much.
So there's a level of consciousness there as well. Was that because you said you was doing a degree, but you've always been like that? Is that part
that
of
was the first time I remember feeling what I would call depressed. I might have felt like that at school, but I didn't know much about depression at school.
Yeah, we don't have the words for it when we're younger.
I've been working out since I was 7. So it's when my mum had my youngest brother, and she was trying to get back into shape. So we used to do family workouts.
Oh, bless you.
I just loved it. Absolutely loved it. You know, Davina McCall, we was fucking doing that. Loved it. So I've enjoyed exercise, and then I just always kept doing it.
Okay, that's cute. I'm going to remember that for my son. It starts young. Okay. So then you was all, so how did you get out of that in the end then, that little rut?
I took like 2 to 3 weeks off work, and I went to see my family.
What did that give you?
I played Xbox, because I love Xbox. I don't play it though, because, and this is a compromise, I don't get to do one of the things that makes me forget about time. I can forget to sleep. Not forget, I'll just be like, I don't want to sleep. I won't eat because I'm playing Xbox. Call of Duty, Mortal Kombat, love it. I could do that for hours a day.
Okay.
But I don't play it at all. I have an Xbox One at home that I haven't even opened.
Wow.
Because
there's an awareness there.
Because if I start playing it, it's going to take up too much of my time, and it's going to take me away from, again, that whole picture of life that I want, the amount of money I want, the relationships I want, the things I want to know and do. If I play Xbox, it's going to significantly deviate me from that part.
Okay.
So
there's an awareness of your limitation there, which is really good, but you've got it there. So it's there for one day.
Yeah, exactly. So when I was feeling down, play the things that I love the most, spend time with the people I love the most, and not have to work, just relax. And then I went back, I was happy. Look how happy I am now speaking about it.
So you replenished yourself.
Yeah.
So you replenished yourself emotionally, physically you was alright, but emotionally you got love and...
Funny enough, physically I was tired every day. I'd wake up tired, bags under my eyes. I didn't have energy. I was just forcing myself to do the things that I know would help me. So when I went for a run, I didn't feel better afterwards.
Okay.
But I just gone for a run.
But look at that. So you went back to touch base with friends and family, done things that you loved, and boom, you felt re-energized.
It was the balance. I did the things that were pleasurable, which I hadn't done in a long time. And it gave me a mental break, which I needed.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.